Welcome back to PSC's Tech Byte. Today I want to show you how you can easily create a search-enabled adaptive card extension using SharePoint Framework 1.18. In fact, in the latest release of SharePoint Framework, Microsoft introduced the capability to create card views for searching content. And you will have a search text box, a search button, a preview or a suggested result, as well as the capability to implement a quick view to render the actual search results. In order to do that, you simply need to manage the on-change event of the text that the user will provide as the search query, and then you can rely on any backend API, like for example Microsoft Graph, SharePoint Online REST APIs, or any third-party API of your choice. So let me move to the demo environment and let me show you how to create such kind of adaptive card extension. So, what I want to show you is how you can create an adaptive card extension to search the items in the sample solution gallery of Microsoft under the adoption.microsoft.com site. Here we have a list of samples, and this list is retrieved through a REST API. In our adaptive card extension, we are going to search for the items in this sample gallery using my custom ACE. So, for example, I can search for Teams and I can see the search results, and by clicking on the search button, I can see the items coming out from the repository behind the scenes of the sample gallery. If I click on an item, I can choose the item I want to see and I will be brought to the GitHub repository for that specific item. Now, let's see how this adaptive card extension works and how I was able to create it in Visual Studio Code. First of all, I created a SharePoint Framework solution with SharePoint Framework 1.18, and I selected to create a search adaptive card. As such, I've got scaffolded a solution for an adaptive card extension with SharePoint Framework, and I decided in the onInit method of my ACE to initialize a service that I created. I will not dig into it right now because it's not really interesting now, but this is a service which will take care of querying through the REST APIs the actual search engine of the sample gallery. And what I will retrieve from the search engine will be a collection of sample items which will be made of a set of properties, including, for example, a title, a short description, a URL, the list of authors, and for the authors, the picture of the author, which is the one we see in the search results. So, when I do the onInit of my adaptive card extension, I simply prepare and initialize my search service. Then I configure a couple of functions that I'm going to use. One will be the function that we use to search for the samples in the gallery, and what we do is to rely on a query string property that we have in the state and which will be auto-generated by the scaffolding tool whenever you create a search-enabled ACE. And we use that as the search query for our search engine, and then we simply set the results in the state of the adaptive card extension. We do the same for the getSuggested item, but we just get the very first item as the result of the search, and we provide it as a suggested item coming out from the search query. Then I have my card view. In the card view, using the new model, I have a base components card view, extended card view, and in this one I define in the getCardView parameters the structure of my iSearchCardView parameters, which will define the components which will make up the output of my card view. And my card view will be made by a card bar, which will be the top area with the title, will have an header, will have a body, and will have a footer. What is interesting to notice is that in the body we have the search box component, and in that one we define a button which will do the actual search. By clicking the button we will activate the search result quick view, and by typing text in the search box we will have the onChange event triggered so that we can accordingly update the state of the ACE with the query string provided by the user, and we can trigger a new search to get the suggested sample. The suggested sample will be stored in the state of our adaptive card extension into the suggested sample property of the state. And when I have it, I configure the footer of this card view in order to show the title and the picture of the author, if any, and to have an external link so that by clicking on the suggested item, I will open the URL in a new window. So that's the behavior of the card view. Then we have the quick view to show the search results. And in this one, again, in the get data, we rely on the state. So we see if the query that we need to use for the search query is the same as we just used before. And if that is the case, we simply render the output. Or if we have a new search, we use the search sample method that we have seen before to get the new search results, and then we still show them in a property of the quick view. Inside the quick view, in our JSON, we simply use the data binding of the adaptive card extensions in our quick view, and we do the data binding of a container of columns for every search result item, and for every item we show the picture of the author, we show the title, and we show the short description of the item. And we have for every single item an action of type open URL, which will open the actual URL of the sample item. As such, when we do a search, for example, we can search for toolkit now, just to change the search query. We can see the suggested item here, and by clicking on it, we can open that item directly. Or we can browse the whole list of search results, they are 16, and we can scroll them and click on any of them to see the actual result. And this is the title, this is the short description, and this is the image or the picture URL of the author, the first author of the sample. Like always, thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.